You know what's easier than looking in the mirror? Blaming someone else. After a breakup, it's almost instinctive. We replay every argument, every disappointment, every time they let us down. And in our minds, we build a case, a perfect case for why they were the problem. But here's the uncomfortable truth most of us avoid. What if you were part of the problem too? It's human nature. When something ends, we need someone to blame. We tell our friends, our family, maybe even strangers on the internet about everything they did wrong. They were too distant. They didn't appreciate me. They never listened. And sure, maybe all of that is true. But here's what we conveniently leave out. Our part in the story. The arguments we started, the times we shut down instead of communicating, the needs we expected them to magically guess without ever speaking up. We edit ourselves out of the narrative, or we cast ourselves as the perfect partner who tried everything. But relationships don't work that way. They never have. I'm not saying your ex was perfect. I'm not saying you should take all the blame either. But accountability, that's where growth lives. Think about it honestly. Were you really present in that relationship? Did you listen, truly listen, or were you just waiting for your turn to talk? Did you express your needs clearly, or did you expect them to read your mind and then resent them when they couldn't? Maybe you brought unhealed wounds from past relationships and made them pay for someone else's mistakes. Maybe you were so focused on what you weren't getting that you forgot to ask what you were giving. Maybe you said, "I'm fine," when you weren't, and built walls instead of bridges. Here's the thing about always blaming the other person. You never learn. You carry the same patterns into the next relationship, and the next, wondering why it keeps ending the same way. Different person, same problems. That's not a coincidence. If every relationship you've been in ended because they were crazy or they didn't appreciate you, maybe it's time to ask yourself, what's the common denominator here? Spoiler alert, it's you. And I know that's hard to hear. It's much easier to be the victim than to be the student. But victims stay stuck. Students grow. Students look at what went wrong and ask, what could I have done differently? Where did I fall short? What patterns do I need to break? Taking responsibility doesn't mean the relationship failing was all your fault. It means acknowledging your contribution to the dynamic. Maybe you stopped dating them after you started dating them. Maybe you took them for granted. Maybe your communication style was hurtful, even if you didn't mean it to be. Maybe you were dealing with your own issues, stress, insecurity, fear, and you projected that onto them. Maybe you were so afraid of being hurt that you hurt them first. Or maybe you just grew apart, and instead of being honest about it, you let resentment build until everything collapsed. The point is, there's always something to learn, not to beat yourself up, but to become better, to show up differently next time, to heal what needs healing so you don't keep repeating the same story. So here's my advice. Stop making your ex the villain of your story, not because they deserve your grace, maybe they don't, but because you deserve your growth. You deserve to become the kind of person who doesn't need to blame others to feel better about themselves. Sit with the uncomfortable questions. Write them down if you have to. Where were you selfish? Where were you closed off? Where did you stop showing up? And then, this is the important part. Forgive yourself. You're human. You made mistakes. We all do. But now you know better. And when you know better, you can do better. The next relationship doesn't have to be like the last one. The next version of you doesn't have to repeat the same mistakes. But that only happens when you stop pointing fingers and start looking inward. So take responsibility, not for their actions. Those are theirs to own. But for yours, because at the end of the day, the only person you can truly change is yourself. And that's more powerful than any blame could ever be. Maybe it wasn't just them. Maybe it wasn't just you. But the only way forward is through owning your part. And that's not weakness, that's wisdom.